Hey guys, thank you for joining again. I really appreciate you all following me on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and becoming my patrons as well. So if you're not my patron, please go to my Patreon and subscribe because that's a very late for me now. Anyway, on Patreon I share some extra content for my patrons only, and I will be doing a Q&A session, 60 minutes live with me, where you can ask anything, either like next week or very soon, until the end of February there. So if you're not my patron, please join my Patreon and get this exclusive content and exclusive sessions with me for free. I mean for the joining fee. But yeah, I decided to answer one of the questions I got from Oli Scott on YouTube. So thank you very much for the question. And it's actually one of the most common questions we get from people who are not our Move to Prague clients. And that is, especially from people who try to get their visas on their own or who use some unexperienced agencies. I did another live stream about relocation agencies in the Czech Republic and the quality and what you should check before working with some. So go to one of my videos if you haven't seen that. But the topic is, or the point is, if your visa got rejected, so what you should do. This will probably be a very short live stream, and I hope that it will be like condensed with information. And of course, if you have some questions, ask, and I'll be happy to answer them. So, what you can do if your visa or residence permit was rejected? You basically have two options. Either you can make an appeal, or you can apply again. Making an appeal makes sense, especially if there has been some process mistake from the side of the Ministry of the Interior. You know, if they were supposed to send you something but they didn't send it, or if they did something illegal, or if they made some mistakes, because that happens. And in that case, you can appeal it, and there is a chance that you will win that appeal. In most other cases, I don't see the appeal as the right way to go. Obviously, we don't deal with that much, because most of our clients, like 98%, 99% of our clients, are always approved. So we don't deal with that much with our clients, but we hear it and see it from other people and from lawyers and everywhere. So appeals, first, can take a long time, and second, there is no legal right to get a Czech visa approved. If the Czech government doesn't want to give you a visa, they don't have to. They can find whatever fake reason, and they can just deny the application. You cannot do anything. There is no law that would say that you have a legal right to get a Czech Republic visa. If you're talking about residence permit, if you're applying for a student residence permit or an employee card, blue card, that's a different situation, because that follows different law, not only the immigration law, but also some different codes. And in that case, if the ministry wants to deny such application of long-term residence permit, they need to have legit reasons, and you could sue them and you could take them to court. And I'm frozen on Facebook. I'm back. So you could take them to court, and you could actually win the case. So that's a bit different. But in case of visas, there is no legal right, and you cannot really do anything against the denial. So in my opinions, appeals only make sense in very specific cases. But if you want to appeal, you can do that. Second option, though, is to apply again. Just forget the application, you submit it, and apply again. That's probably a faster approach, and you have it more under control. Because if you make an appeal, you cannot really influence the process. You cannot influence how it works, how long it takes, and all this. So if you apply again, then your chances are, in my opinion, higher, and it might even be faster. Of course, it depends on the situation and the country you're coming from, but generally, I prefer reapplying than making appeals. And now, what is important? Let me see. Sorry, I'm trying to. My light is dim. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Anyway, sorry. In any case, whatever you want to do, if your visa was denied or rejected, you need to find out the reason. Because if you don't know why the visa was rejected, then you don't know what to do. You cannot make an appeal, or you can, but it will not be really successful if you don't know what you're appealing, what you're making an appeal against. So you need to first, in any case, you first need to receive a rejection letter from the Ministry of the Interior. Sometimes it is sent to you through the embassy. But in any case, before you make any steps, you need to wait for the rejection letter, read what is written in the rejection letter, what are the reasons, and then decide. Because if you see that the reasons are bullshit or that the ministry made some mistakes, then it might be a good idea to submit an appeal. But for that, I would definitely recommend hiring a lawyer and write an official appeal through a lawyer than trying to do it yourself. I've seen cases for student visas, because student visas are the simplest to get, and the ministry kind of acts weirdly around them, like they approve something they would have never approved for other type of visa for students. So students are a bit different, and I've seen people making appeals on their own. They even wrote it in English, I believe, and maybe just Google translated it or something, and it worked out. But I would not take it as a standard case. So if you see that there are some like bullshit paragraphs and that the ministry is just trying to reject you for no reason, then it might be good idea to consult with a lawyer and make an appeal. But if you see that the reasons are legit, like you, for example, were missing some documents, or some of the documents were not correct, or that you made some mistakes, you submitted something too late, or your answers during the interview were just bad or something, then it makes no sense to make an appeal, and it would be better to reapply. Only in case that the reasons for the rejection were so serious that it's kind of obvious that you will never get a visa. In that case, it makes no sense to do anything. Or obviously you can try, but if you, for example, are on a, like, I don't know, in a terrorist database or whatever, then you will never get a visa, and it makes no sense to try again. Or if you falsificated if you falsificated some documents, if you submitted fraud documents, or sorry, it's really late for me, and it's been a tough week, but so my brain is kind of like going to sleep slowly. But anyway, if there is some very serious reason, then it makes no sense to even try again. But if there is just some mistake on your side, that you missed some document, or they were incorrect, then you can always try and apply again, and you can get approved. Because officially, rejection of one visa should not influence your next application. Of course, if you have like 5 visas denied in a row, it's very unlikely that you will get the 6th one, but it also depends on the reasons. Like if you have like 5 visas denied because you're approved, but if you tried, you always had all the correct documents, you were still denied, then after a couple tries, I would probably not try again. Yeah, it's stupid. Like for the long-term visa, the ministry can really decide that they deny you on whatever basis, because there is no legal right to get a long-term visa. But for the long-term residence permits, appeals and like doing something with the application can actually work, because they need to follow some code. And if they, for example, want to deny your long-term residence permit application, so in some cases student residence permit or employee card, blue card, then they, for example, need to send you a letter first saying what they don't like about your application, and they need to give you a reasonable time to correct it. So if you're missing, for example, your diploma from the country of your origin, they cannot give you like 5 days, because obviously you cannot even like deliver it to the Czech Republic in 5 days, but they need to give you like 30 days or 60 days to deliver the missing documents. So you can actually do something about that. They should also inform you about the intention of denying the application. So sometimes they send you a letter. That's maybe one very important thing. Sometimes people receive letters saying that you can go check your file, and they don't know what it means, and they think that it's okay, that you can go check your file and it's all good. But actually, if the ministry sends you a letter saying that you can go check your file, that means that they are going to deny your application, and you have the last chance to do something about that. Because if they wanted to approve it, they would not ask you to come check the file. They would just approve it, So if they send you a letter asking you to come check the file, that means that the denial is coming and you have a last chance to do something about it. So if you receive letter like that, definitely go to the ministry. You usually have like 7 days or 15 days tops to go check the file. So either go yourself or send someone with a power of attorney. If you're not here, for example, we can go to the ministry on your behalf and check your file and request some additional time to correct whatever is incorrect in the application. So that was actually one important thing which I almost forgot. But if you receive a letter like this to go check your file, then be very careful and really go check your file, because there is some problem and the ministry is going to deny the application if you don't do anything about it, or if you don't do something about it. Okay, that was, I believe, the official part. I don't think I have anything more to say about this topic. So let me just say hi to some of you who come here all the time. Agnello Andrews, hi mate, hopefully you're still watching. Agnello comes for all of my live streams. I believe you've seen all. I've done like 100 videos almost on YouTube, and most of them are on my Facebook group as well. And I believe that Agnello saw most of them or have seen. Trinity, yeah, Trinity, thank you very much for joining as well. Trinity also follows almost all my live streams, so thank you very much for that. Guys, if you have any questions, Aaron KB, I had same situation before. Thanks. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Unfortunately, the ministry is a very strange place, so they can sometimes make decisions which are like unbelievable to me. We've seen some very crazy rejection letters. We've seen some crazy requirements from the ministry. We've seen, for example, if something is wrong with your application, the ministry needs to send you a letter saying what is wrong for like long-term residence permits. I mean, not really for visas, but residence permits, yes. They need to send you a letter saying what is wrong with the application and give you the time to correct it. And we've seen letters which did not really make any sense at all. For example, they sent a letter to a male who was, I don't know, working in IT, and then they called him a lady and asked him for a list of subjects he teaches or she teaches, even though it was a male and not a teacher, but IT. So they sometimes send like really, really crazy letters. So yeah, sorry to hear you had that experience as well. Aong Bertrand, hi, thank you very much for joining. Guys, the official part is over. So if you have any questions or if you just want to share something like Aaron, your experience, please do. Now I'm going to apply. My last application will reflect new application. Both of them are different company. Well, I'm assuming that you're applying for an employee card and that you're applying from outside of the Czech Republic, right, Aaron? Because if yes, then the thing is that if you're applying for an employee card, the employee card is pretty safe option. Okay, so if you find a job in the Czech Republic, if you're from a non-EU country, you want to move here, and you find a job in the Czech Republic, you find a company which is willing to hire you and support you through the process, the approval rate is pretty high, because there is a Czech company who needs you in the Czech Republic, who's willing to pay your salary and the social security, healthcare, income tax to the government. So the government actually is, like, I'm not saying trying to approve all, but the success rate is pretty high. So one of the things, of course, if you don't submit all the documents, or you submit them incorrectly, or something is missing, obviously you can get rejection as well. But in case of the employee card, usually the problem, if there is a problem, then the problem is the employer, because the ministry can check if the employer, for example, doesn't have any debts against the government in the social security and healthcare, if they pay everything for their employees, and if they see that they are not paying everything, then they can reject your application, because they just don't trust that they would pay everything for you. So this actually happens, especially if you apply we've seen this mainly like in small like kebab places or some smaller, I don't know, companies. If you're hired by a big company, international company or some factory or something, then usually there is no problem. But if you're hired by some smaller business, or especially if I don't know, I don't want to say shady or something, but there are some types of businesses where it's more likely that there will be some problems than in others. So if you're hired by some company like that, then unfortunately it can happen. But especially if the rejection, oh, hey, I saw the dog jumping on on the sofa. Sorry, it's fine. So if the employee card was rejected because of your employer's problems, then it's fine. If you apply again with a different employer and that employer is not in trouble, if they don't have any problems, everything is fine, then the employee card can be approved easily. That's not a problem. Only if the problem was on your side, that for example you applied for a job which required a bachelor's degree and you only had high school, so then even in the future you would not be approved for jobs requiring bachelor's. But besides that, if it was a problem of your employer, then it's okay. You can apply again with a different employer. There should be no problem. Ayong, what happens to study visa application decision pending for over 4 months now? But the MOI has already contacted the university regarding the student application program. Well, I've done many videos about this topic. I've done some live streams. So go through my subscribe, obviously, to my YouTube channel. If you're not a subscriber yet, go through the videos there. And I've done video just about this topic because it's a big topic. But generally, the MOI does not really care about any official deadline. So if the student visa has 60 days official approval time, it can be sometimes as fast as like 1 month, but sometimes it can take half a year. You never know. The ministry does not really care. So, sorry. Obe. Give me just a second, guys. Our dog is eating something very strange here. What are you eating? What are you eating? Okay. Wait. Yeah, some of you probably saw me cuddling our dog. So either sorry for that or you're welcome. But yeah, unfortunately, the ministry does not really care about the deadlines. So it can take them as much as they want. You cannot really do anything. You can send some letters, either a polite letter just asking about the status of your application, or you can send a complaint letter, which will force them to do something, but it can often just piss them off, and they will try to find any potential problems in your applications. So unfortunately, those are probably the options. You can either send the ministry a letter requesting the status of your application, but they usually don't even reply to that. The advantage of that is that they at least need to put it into your file because it needs to be filed. So they might actually get back to your application, but it doesn't really mean anything. Or you can send the complaint, but then you need to count with the officer getting pissed and maybe trying to look for reasons to deny the visa. So in general, we recommend just waiting and you'll see. If the ministry contacted the university, that's actually a good sign because something is happening. And then it depends on the university what they told them. If they told them, hey, he will not be studying because he didn't pay the tuition, or he's already 3 months late with the start of school or something, then obviously it could be a problem for the application. But if they confirm everything and say everything is good, we're waiting for him, then it should be okay. So just patiently wait. Makes no sense to really contact the embassy where you applied because they don't make the decision. The decision is made at the Ministry of the Interior in the Czech Republic, and the embassy does not see that or does not influence it. So yeah, just patiently wait. Arun, thanks, you're right. My last employer had that in Social Security, so they rejected, saying that unreliable employer. Yeah, unfortunately, this can happen. That's kind of a new status, the unreliable employer, but it usually happens if, for example, because there are some duties the employer has towards the government. First, obviously, paying the Social Security, healthcare, all this for their employees. but also, for example, reporting the start of employment and the termination of employment to the labor office and things like that. And if they don't follow these rules on long-term basis, they can get the status of unreliable employer, and in that case they cannot hire any employees from non-EU countries for half a year or sometimes longer. So yeah, if this happened to you, then choose better employer next time. But I know it's difficult to do, so it's a stupid advice, but yeah, unfortunately you cannot do anything about that. Kazi, I see also Kirtiraj Gurjar, I believe. So I'll get back to you in a second. I'll just finish this question on Facebook. Kazi MD Jahirul Islam. If student visa got rejected and I apply appeal, how many time needs to get its decision about the appeal? Well, I talked about it in the beginning. You never know. It can take a very long time. It depends, of course, on the reason. It depends on the appeal, how you write it, and if you write it yourself, it might be actually kind of easy for them to deny it. If you hire a lawyer and they will quote the law and everything, so if the ministry wants to deny it, they will also need to quote the law and find some like reasons to deny you. So it depends. It can be sometimes like 2 weeks, but sometimes it can be like a couple months. And sometimes it can be a couple years if you make appeals. So there is unfortunately no general rule, but it usually takes a long time. I believe that the dog is very hungry, but he ate everything for today already. Ayong, thanks, Ankalina. My pleasure. Thank you very much. Arun, now I got job in AT&T. Hope this time I will get employee card. Yeah, in Brno, we've worked with them a bit as well, and we go to Brno. We've had many clients from Brno. So if you are with AT&T, you should be fine this time. Yeah, that's all right. So now, Kirti, hi, Jan, I have one person I like to take him in my company. He works in another company for 6 months and he is from India. Can we switch his contract? Yeah, it's possible. Of course, if the person has an employee card and they have, okay. If you get an employee card, you have to stay with your first employer for 6 months. That was introduced some years ago to protect employers, because what happened often before that was that some employer did the whole process for you. You came to the Czech Republic and you immediately switched companies for a higher salary or for some agency. So these two things are not possible. Within the first 6 months, you cannot change employer unless there are some exceptions. There are some exceptions, but usually you don't meet them, but there are. And you can also not switch a company to work for an agency. You can get an employee card under an agency, but you cannot switch from a standard employer to an agency. So these are the rules which were introduced not that long ago to protect employers. But if it's been more than 6 months and the new employer is not an agency, then you can switch companies. So basically how it works is that you as the new employer must advertise the free position to the labor office. It needs to be there either 10 days or 30 days, depending on the position. That's so-called test of the labor market, meaning that those 10 or 30 days are there for Czech citizens to apply for the position, and only if they don't apply, then the position gets a special number and your employee can apply for the change of employer. Then they will need to get their old employment contract or their current employment contract plus some termination letter. Then they will need to get a new employment contract from you. They will need to fill in a form, and you will also need to fill in one form. And then you need to send all these documents to the Ministry of the Interior, and at least 30 days in advance before you want them to start. So if you want them to start 1st of April, latest 1st of March, they need to send, the documents must be delivered to the Ministry of the Interior. How it works then is that within those 30 days, they will let you know as the new employer, saying either, okay, you met all the conditions, or your future employee met all the conditions and he can start working from this date, or they did not meet the condition and they cannot start working. So yeah, if you need any help with that, we do this very often, so we'll be happy to help with that. We have experience with Indians. We've had plenty of Indian clients, so we'll be happy to help. That's kind of an easy task. Kočka Kočička is watching. That's a kitty kitty. All right, guys, some more questions. Let me see if there were some more. I don't think they were not, but you've had many questions, guys. Thank you much for that. It's always good if I can talk a bit more about some other topics or about this particular topic. Jennifer, nice to see you. Thank you for joining. So yeah, guys, last couple seconds maybe for your questions. Of course, guys, join my Patreon. If you're not my patrons yet, I will share the link in the comments on both YouTube and Facebook. And if you need any help, get in touch. Maybe not now through the Facebook chat, like direct message to me, because I now don't go there that often. But if you go to our movetoprague.com website and you fill in a form, we'll get back to you for sure, either me or one of my colleagues. Oh, okay. What's the time? 10 o'clock. Okay, that's a good time. Good time. I came home from office like 1 hour ago. I'll probably have some dinner now and we'll go die into bed. Okay, guys, thank you very much for coming, for following me. If you don't follow me everywhere, follow me everywhere. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Patreon, I'm on YouTube, I'm everywhere. So please follow me everywhere. I really appreciate it. It's really nice to see that I'm bringing some value and some help and that you like my content. So thank you very much and see you again on Monday. Bye-bye, guys.